Kevin O'Leary says AOC is great at killing jobs. I'm John Mike Keene. Let's get to Mr. Wonderful.
Here's the one thing that nobody saw coming, and this is the competition of states. I don't put companies here in New York anymore, or in Massachusetts, or in New Jersey, or in California. Those states are uninvestable. The policy here is insane. The taxes are too high. We put them in Fargo, North Dakota.
The competition of states, which is part of capitalism working. Which state, where do you want to set up your company if you have a choice? He's trying to educate these sad people, commentators at CNN.
A bit of a debate with Elizabeth Warren about this, but I say, look, Senator, we've got to move the companies out of your state because you're not investable anymore. You're punishing people if they're successful. You overtax them. You hit them with a super tax. New Jersey, what a mess. New York, uninvestable.
Wait,
California.
Why is New York uninvestable?
Try and do a project in New York. Try and build a data.
Yeah, I'm asking, Don's point, is it beyond the taxes?
Oh, the regulatory environment is punitive.
Yes, it's beyond the taxes, but it's all other Democrat policies.
I had a project in upstate New York behind the grid in Niagara Falls for electricity, a global data center we were building. Eventually, it got so bad with the politicians in the local region and the state policy, we moved it to Norway and all the jobs. Wow. Norway has it now. Thousands of jobs coming out of that. I mean, that's New York, uninvestable. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger, just telling you the way it is.
Kevin O'Leary is not a pro-Trumper. So he's not saying this for advocacy. He's just telling the truth. And watch them. They're just staring at him. They're trying to defend their Democrat brothers. This is CNN, an alleged former news organization.
Yeah,
That's it. Uninvestable.
Some pushback from our elected officials in New York on that.
I was just going to say Kathy Hochul.
Yeah, but
I'll debate them any time of the day you want.
Yeah, he's not afraid of the discussion. They are. But if you are going to debate Kathy Hochul, here's Disclosed TV on Twitter. Just in, Linda's son, ex-aide to New York Governor Hochul, charged with, quote, acting as a Chinese agent, unquote, by Reuters. This also reminds me of what happened to Dianne Feinstein, who had for 20 years a Chinese agent as one of her assistants, one of her drivers, I'm sorry. This only happens to Democrats. They're so naive.
We would love to set that up.
Particularly
I'd watch
AOC.
that.
She's great at killing jobs. She kills jobs by the thousands. Where did Amazon take their jobs? They took them away from her. She threatened to sue them if they created jobs. I mean, this is a reality. There's a reality that the business...
There's a little more to it, but let's not relitigate that.
Well, sorry, just telling the truth.
He's saying what a lot of people are saying, especially what happened with that Amazon thing here in New York.
The CNN lady goes, there's a little more to it than that, but let's move on. In other words, they're not going to debate that.
Just real quickly, I don't want to hog the conversation, but what was Elizabeth Warren's response when you said that to her?
Look, I have a lot of respect for her because it's okay to have a debate about politics, but not policy. When you have punitive policy, you're making a mistake. And I want to just put up my hand and say, I don't agree, Senator, with your policy. I respect you as a politician, a very successful one.
He's only looking at her for success. How successful is she if she's driving jobs out of your state? Kevin O'Leary still will not come out and endorse Donald Trump. As a businessman, how much do you care about jobs being created in the city where you raised your kids?
You know, she's very successful, and that's the state where I grew my kids. I mean, our family grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. We left there to move to Florida like everybody else is because it's such a tough place to, this is a tough message. People really are critical about this, but somebody has to call it out because this is a competition of states now. And we don't put money there anymore. We put it in other places, and jobs are created elsewhere.
You'd be crazy to put them in those states.
Over time, this is going to diminish New Jersey, diminish New York, diminish Massachusetts, and California out of business. Out of business. El Morte. No business there. You can't do business there. I don't know what that place is going to turn into. Maybe a tourist zone, but no business. Imagine San Francisco. You can't even walk at night out in the street.
The only thing left of California is a tourist zone because it does have beautiful weather, but you'd never start a business that actually had to have a profit margin and create products and jobs. And I believe that's intentional because Silicon Valley is so profitable. They don't need other businesses.
Sorry.
About what's happening, though.
He keeps apologizing, and CNN keeps coming back at him because they learn nothing. Democrats hear this and they learn nothing. They just go, oh, he's just lying for Trump. No, he's not. He's not a pro-Trumper. That's why I put him and I favor these guys on my shows. I tend to get my news from Never Trumpers, just so you can't accuse it of being advocacy. What is advocacy are all of these CNN people trying to cover up what Kamala Harris's policy is, what Elizabeth Warren's policy is, what's actually happening in these liberal states. They're being destroyed, and competition is sending jobs elsewhere. I'm John Mike Keane.